Welcome to Pinball Mayhem. My name's Jeremy, and this is part 2 of the NSM Satellite 200 video series. After I rewatched that, I realized that I failed to tell you guys a little bit of my history about this. In 2006, I won an eBay auction for 2 of these machines. I don't remember what I paid, but it was a pretty good price for 2 non-working jukeboxes. So I drove to Duluth, which was several hours away, and I picked them up and strapped them into a truck. I'll show a picture of it here. And brought them home and started tearing them apart. Yeah, we'll toss another picture in here of them apart. And that was a fun project, and I learned a lot. Like I said in the other video, I spent a lot of time and money on eBay to get all the instructions that I could, and I'm sure I'm still missing a few things, but it's good to have all the information you can. So yeah, this jukebox has now been sitting for about 10 years, and inside here, the problem with it was, after sitting for 10 years, the drive motor that moves the carriage just has 2 motors on it, one for the carriage and one for the turntable. The carriage motor was really gummy. So, of course, I had lubricated it back then, but I had never torn it apart and gotten the old lubricant out. And the old lubricant that's in there has paraffin in it, and that just solidified it up. And also the brush that cleans the 2 needles, this has 2 needles on it, that mechanism is sticky as well. So we're going to fix that. But another thing that I failed to mention was I tossed out the term color organ, and not very many people might know what that is. We'll open this a third time. The circuit board that's back in the corner there, you can just see, that is the circuitry for the ring of lights. When it's in attract mode, it's got this kind of fading feature. You can change that. There's settings for it, and maybe I'll do a separate video if anybody's interested in that. But there's also 3 potentiometers on that board, and that controls how the board works when the record is playing. What a color organ is it's basically a box of lights that reacts to music. It can flash, or it can fade, or do some different things. It's really kind of a funky technology or fad or whatever from the 60s and 70s. So how I've got this machine set up, and like I said, it's got 3 potentiometers, so you can adjust it. When the volume on the record itself is low, just the bottom 2 lights are on, and as the volume increases with the beats of the music and whatnot, the 2 side panels or 4 side panels light up, and then when it gets pretty loud, the top ones come up. And I'll put a card up here to a video that I made on my other channel called Too Many Hobbies, and I've had that video up for many years. It's my most popular video on that channel, and it's just a short video that you can see me in my old garb when I used to be a parts manager at Saturn and the automotive dealership. And so yeah, that's a pretty cool video, so take a look. Alright, I'm going to move the camera, and we'll get this mechanism out and onto the table, and we'll show you how to take it out, of course, and we'll go from there. Here we are looking straight in at the jukebox, and one of the neat things is this mechanism has a slip clutch on the gears that engage the rack. So as long as it's not grabbing a record, you can physically push it around without damaging it. So that's kind of a nice feature if you need to grab a record or something. Let's see, what are we going to do? We're going to just pull the jukebox mech out and set it to the side. It's got 1 cable, which is this piece right here. Just kind of lays under it and goes back and forth on it. And we've got 2 bars here. We'll move it over to the side. And these bar connects to a wheel. We've got a little safety red piece here too that kind of locks it in place so it doesn't accidentally come out. So we just lift up on this bar here, move that safety lever the other way, and it's spring loaded. We've got 1 on each side. We just grab it and we lift up a little bit, jiggle it around, and she comes right out really easy. Here's the mechanism. Got a small interface board on the bottom, and we'll show you more in detail about this, but you can just set it on the side there. And the plug for that is on the other side of this. We'll just loosen this nut here. And here we just got just a simple nut. Don't want to lose it because that's probably a special thread. And the jukebox and the cable is this guy right in the middle. It's got two connections on it. We'll zoom in a bit. So normally, this plug would go right here if you did not have this board. So this is the audio portion from the jukebox, or from the needle here. And then this piece here is the plug for it. So it just wiggles on down, and then it just sits behind the record rack. There's a little gap here in the channel, and then we're free. Okay, we'll just close this cover back. We'll move this over to my workspace and we'll take a closer look at it. Hey everybody, as I'm editing this, I realize that this episode is going to be way long, over a half hour, and that's just a little too long for this first episode. So I'm going to split it up into probably 3 parts. Click in the upper corner to go to part 2, or I'll also have a card at the end.